Even more fallout to the Mohammed Salah situation has occurred within the past 24 hours or so. Indy Kyler has dropped major potential bombshell news in regards to Liverpool's stance on the Egyptian winger, whilst Jamie Carragher has also responded and replied to the comments that Salah made in the aftermath of Liverpool's 3-3 draw with Leeds United on Saturday. This news is monumental, and you can add on top of that the fact that Liverpool play tonight. I think that's been lost a little bit. I think everything else is overshadowed. The fact that Liverpool are in Champions League action tonight, taking on Inter Milan at the San Siro, a game in which I personally don't have any hope or any kind of expectation to, let alone draw the game, let alone win it. It's absolutely bizarre. It's absolutely crazy. And I don't even know where to begin, to be quite honest with you. I really, really don't. As always, though, I know where to begin, actually. I know where to begin. We start with you guys. We obviously start with you guys. I hope you're doing very well. I hope you're all happy. In Liverpool fans, I hope you're finding happiness elsewhere other than obviously our club right now. I'm sure rival fans are enjoying sitting back, feet up, watching this entire circus play out before our very eyes. But I hope you're doing very well. Let me know where you're watching from this morning. Let me know what you're up to today or later on this week. Both things I'm sure will make for great and interesting reading. And of course, above all else, we're here to talk some football. So please do get involved in the comment section. Please do get involved in the chat. Let me know what you make about this entire circusy situation that is playing out before our very eyes at Liverpool right now. It is absolutely mad. It's absolutely bizarre. And I do think there are a lot of layers to this story that maybe a lot of us have had originally overlooked. Because after yesterday's stream, I went and I watched some more content about it, and I watched some different opinions voice out on it. And some people were against Salah, and you know, I'm welcome to everybody challenging my own personal opinion, whether directly or indirectly. And I'm always looking to broaden my opinions by seeing things from a different perspective and that kind of thing. And there were some people that agreed with me. There were some people that were singing off the same hymn sheet as me, on the same wavelength as me. And that's also interesting to hear. Like, I'm not the only one that felt the way that I did yesterday. And then what's transpired over the last 24 hours or so is a case of Jamie Carragher has obviously responded. Sky Sports bigged that up like it was some sort of big, you know, like when two boxers sort of meet face to face and they have like a war of words kind of thing. Sky Sports bigged it up like it was some sort of promotional video like that, in all honesty. And I've watched the Jamie Carragher stuff, and we'll get on to that a little later. I watched it, and I have some rather... I hope interesting is the right word, but I have some takes on what Jamie Carragher said. Partly I agree with, partly I don't agree with. Indy Kyler drops major bombshell news that it's looking like Liverpool are planning to sell Mo Salah, and it looks like that was the plan all along. I'm just gonna look here. Yeah, there we go. And that may have been the plan all along. Even when they got him to sign that new deal eventually, that Mo Salah was always going to be sold by Liverpool. And that brings me on to what was said by Salah on Saturday, which I think, again, a lot of us overlooked, because I think a lot of us were mainly focused on the bench side of things and how he wasn't happy being sat on the bench, that kind of thing. But he mentioned broken promises. And again, I think a lot of people tied the two things together and were like, right, well, it was obviously promised playing time and he's not obviously getting it. I think now that I look back on it and now I take everything into account and everything, I look back at it and I go, maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe there was more to it than meets the eye. Maybe broken promises kind of link to the fact that Salah may have wanted to stay the rest of his career at Liverpool, but Liverpool were planning to move him on to Saudi anyway. And I think they were planning on doing that when AFCON hit. I think when AFCON came, I think Salah would be out of mind and out of sight. But Liverpool would just move quietly in getting rid of Mo Salah so that, oh, he's back. He's not back because he's going to be going to Saudi and he's not coming back. I don't understand it. I don't understand why the club would move that way. I don't understand why the club would give him that bumper deal if that was the case. I don't understand why they would give him the contract in the first place. It makes no sense to me. None of this makes any sense to me whatsoever. And if that's the case, and if that's why Salah feels betrayed, then I think he has every right to be frustrated and angry and speak out in the sort of way he did. I don't get it. I just don't. I don't get any of this. I really, really don't. I really, really don't get any of this. And I'm kind of, until obviously something happens, I'm kind of lost. We can all just speculate, of course. But I really don't know because I don't understand the logic behind putting someone on a 400k a week contract for 2 more years, only to then sell him 6 months to a year later. What's the logic behind that? Yes, I know Trent was leaving, but surely that's part of the club to make the big decisions. Like, I'm not happy about it right now, but if Salah goes to Saudi and it turns out that his legs have definitely gone and he's obviously not playing to the best of his ability like he was a year or so ago, then I will look back and go, you know what? At the time I was angry, but I understand where the club was coming from now. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Mo Salah is still playing not amazingly well, but he's still one of our better performing players this season outside of Szoboszlai, Ekatike, maybe Alisson. He's still one of our better ones because of like the chances he's created. He's still got, I think, 4 goals and 2 assists to his name. None of this just makes any sense whatsoever. It really, really doesn't. I'll bring up the indie tweet in a sec and then we'll move on to the Jamie Carragher stuff. Big up, bro. How you doing? Well, lovely to have you here with us this morning. He says, will it all be manipulative against Slot, though? The club starts with Salah first, and then it turns to Slot. Well, if results don't pick up, it has to turn to Slot. But here's the thing. Slot should have gone ages ago. Slot should have gone after Manchester United, in my personal opinion. And the fact he hasn't gone, it is bizarre to me. Because now everyone's just turning it against Salah, which is just absolutely bizarre considering that, you know, we're looking at draws against the likes of Leeds and Sunderland as being effective. I'm sorry, but for Premier League champions that have gone into the summer and spent 450 odd million, you can't be looking at draws against newly promoted teams as being effective. Like, he should have gone after Man United, in my opinion. He definitely should have gone after Nottingham Forest. And he most definitely should have gone after the embarrassing and even more humiliating defeat at Anfield against PSV. So, the Slot should have gone a long time ago. But now this situation has burst with Salah. Like, the club can't sack the manager now because it's seemingly given into player power, which is why I think both will now eventually go. But it's just going to be a case of who goes first? Because Saudi can be sitting there right now going, well, we know that you guys want to sell Salah, so you're either going to have to take a cut of the price that we were originally going to give you, or you're going to have a very unhappy player on your hands because we're not going to pay money for him, but we'll wait until his contract expires in a year and a half's time and we'll pick him up on a free. Alternatively, maybe Salah's got other offers on the table other than Saudi. Maybe PSG, perhaps, as just a random plucked out of the air team right there. Maybe PSG have got an offer on the table, because why would you go so nuclear if you haven't got a backup plan? I think there are offers on the table for Mo Salah. I really, really do. And they'll be stupid not to, really, certain teams at least. But I now that I think about it more and more, I do kind of think that he wouldn't have gone so far in on the club if it wasn't for having a backup plan in place, in my opinion. That's what I believe anyway, because to go so far in on the club and not have a backup plan in place would, in my opinion, just be career suicide. It really would be career suicide. And I'm just, I just don't understand it. Like, if it was definitely Slot that he was talking about in terms of someone doesn't want him at the club, he'd have just said Slot, because he already called out the manager anyway. So why would you stop yourself from going, Slot's the main guy that doesn't want me at the club? Which makes me think it's higher than that. Which makes me think it is someone like a Michael Edwards or a Richard Hughes that doesn't want him at the club. They wanted him enough to stay, but it was just to protect what would be now a very small, well, not necessarily small, because over the years he's made them so much money, Salah, or helped them make so much money. But at the same time, in saying that, like, to just protect a sale, which now will be looked at something along the lines of 40 to 60, maybe to push 70 million. It boggles the mind as to what the thought process is. And here's the other thing as well. If they were so scared about fan opinion when it came to when it came to potentially not giving Salah a contract at the end of last season, what the hell did they think was going to happen when they decided to sell Salah behind his back? How did they think that Liverpool fans were going to react when people found this out? Because this was eventually going to be found out. And the overall consensus is that they were going to try and do it in secret, but Salah's agent managed to uncover this secret plot. What do you think was going to happen when Salah was going to be sold and not given the proper send-off that he so richly deserves for being an incredible servant to the football club and for potentially being the Premier League GOAT? Let's face it, he's between Gerrard and Salah in terms of being the Liverpool GOAT. And of course, it's, in my opinion, between Omri and Salah as being the Premier League GOAT, in my opinion. What the hell did they think was going to happen? It makes no sense to me, any of this. This is like, I know it's like major conspiracy and all of that kind of stuff, but it genuinely makes no freaking sense to me whatsoever that you would fight tooth and nail to try and get this guy to sign a new deal just to protect him for a 40, 50, 60, 70 odd £million sale in the January window or in the summer window of 2026. If someone can honestly unravel that and explain that one to me, I would be forever in your debt, because I don't get it. I personally do not get it whatsoever. I really, really don't. Yeah, what Salah did may just slow down and delay the process to get Slot out. Absolutely. The club are backing Slot. But here's the thing: the club will soon stab Slot in the back as soon as Salah's sold. Because here's what will happen if they get rid of Slot right now. They get rid of Slot right now. Not only does it look weak on the club that they gave into player power, it's mad how this whole thing comes about after obviously what happened with Isak to Newcastle and how we were looking at it then. For those of you that are also looking at player loyalty to their clubs, this is exactly what I was talking about in the summer, by the way, about how that loyalty from player to club is also never really reciprocated from club to player. So, yeah. For those of you that were talking about player loyalty and not looking at it from the other angle, how are you feeling right now looking at this situation? Because I did warn each and every single one of you, whether you're rival fans or not. But yeah, if you look at this and they go Slot out, well, all that happens is that the club looks weak to player power, but also a new manager comes in and they demand that Mo Salah stays. You're not going to find anybody, or there's not going to be many people that will cave into the club's demands of going, right, we'll give you the job, but we need to sell Mo Salah. There's not going to be many managers that are going to cave into that demand. So Slot's here until Salah goes. That's the harsh reality of it. That's horrible. That's horrible in my opinion. Unless, of course, Slot can turn this around, which so far he's not shown any signs of doing. Big up Reluctant Gamer is in the chat. Lovely to have you here, my bro. Big up to you on this Tuesday morning. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Absolutely. Big up Didier. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, my bro. I hope you're doing well. Jamie is an idiot. I come just to say this. Fair enough, man. Like I say, I understand, Liverpool legend. Thank you for your years of service. Thank you for the memories of like Istanbul and obviously the FA Cup final of 2006 and all of that. But since he's moved to Sky, I don't know. I really dislike Jamie Carragher as a pundit. I don't want him commentating on Liverpool games the same way that I don't want Gary Neville commentating on Liverpool games. I genuinely, I just genuinely don't want him anywhere associated with the club right now. And obviously, we will eventually get on to what Jamie Carragher said last night on Sky. What I think killed it for Salah was to see Gakpo playing when he was benched. Then they used Szoboszlai in Salah's position on Saturday. I just think it killed it for Salah. This is the thing. I said yesterday on yesterday's team, there's no incentive to play well in this team. There is no incentive whatsoever to play well in this team. Look at our best performing players this season. Szoboszlai plays well, but he plays in every other position than the one he's in. Ekitike plays well, but you can guarantee that the next game, he will be dropped for Isak. Now, it may be different tonight because there are quite a few injuries, and we're going into a game tonight where our only fit two wingers are Salah and Rio Ngamoa. Salah, of course, is not going to be there because of what he said on Saturday, so he's out. So our only fit winger is Rio Ngamoa, who Arne Slot has seemingly said has played enough minutes already for someone of his age. It boggles the mind what this guy is saying, right? I don't even know if he's actually listening to himself or whether he's having temporary blackouts between what he's saying. But genuinely, he is an absolute muppet. He is an absolute freaking muppet. It's terrible. But there's no incentive to play well because, again, Ekitike has been our best signing in the summer. But if obviously there was a fully fit squad tonight, you can guarantee that because he started against Leeds, he's going to be out the team tonight. You can just pretty much guarantee that there's no incentive to play well because the likes of Ibrahima Konate and Cody Gakpo are playing game in, game out. And this is what I think a lot of people that are not on Salah's side and don't understand Salah's frustration are looking at. It's not about whataboutism. It's about it's about setting the precedent that if you are playing poorly, you deserve to be dropped. Well, guess what? Konato's been poor all season, hasn't been dropped. Cody Gakpo's been poor all season, hasn't been dropped. But Salah has. Can't you understand why he's being made to look like a scapegoat when all of that happens? Don't people understand it? It boggles the mind that like people are just sat there going, "Oh, he's throwing his toys out the pram. He's been sat on the bench for 3 games. What's the big problem?" The big problem is no one's playing well, apart from 1 or 2 players. But yet there's no incentive to play well because you play well, you get dropped. You play poorly, you get stuck. You get stuck by the manager sticks by you. It makes no sense. And another thing as well, just to add to that, Federico Chiesa comes on with like 20 minutes to go maximum, pretty much near enough every game. Oh, against Sunderland, he's the reason why Arne Slot still had a job going into Thursday morning when he ran back 60, 70 yards and managed to clear the ball off the line. He saved Arne Slot's job that night from Sunderland winning that game. How was he rewarded for his efforts against Sunderland, against Leeds? Oh, he's on the bench again. Oh, he didn't actually come on this time. There is no incentive to play well in this team. And Salah's looking at it like this manager's not got a clue. He's not a good man manager. Maybe tactically, as proven last season, he's got something. But man management-wise, he seems to be so lost. I hope Inter beat Slot 5-0. Look, I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm never going to want, hope, or wish for Liverpool to lose. So I'm hoping that we win tonight. But at the same time, in saying that I hope we win, I know we're going to get slaughtered. I know we are absolutely 100% going to get slaughtered by Inter tonight. Big up Footy Reacts. Hope you're doing well. Guys, go and follow Footy Reacts, doing some awesome stuff on his channel. Big Liverpool fan. If you want to broaden your footballing horizons or you want to talk more Liverpool, then Footy Reacts is the place to go. Go and show some love and support to my brother over there. Yes, hopefully 1K soon. Yeah, we are hopefully closing in on that by the end of the year. We'll obviously see how things go, but hopefully 1K by the end of the year. So please do hit the like button and subscribe, guys. Really do appreciate it from each and every single one of you. And big up for being here very early on this Tuesday morning. Fletcher from the... Yeah, I'm from Nottingham, bro. Nottingham, England, UK. So... yes, Nottingham, England. Slot's problem is that he cannot get his tactics right to utilize Mo Salah. Just last season, guy was top goal scorer and top assister. Van Dijk and Konate and Alisson all playing bad. The new signings are flops. The only new signing that isn't a flop, obviously, is Hugo Ekitike. He's the only signing that's not flopped. Jeremy Frimpong's been injured consistently. And, Kirkez has been... The problem is like they're not flops and they're not bad players. It's just that they're being used wrong. And... the one or two or 3 or 4 times that we've actually played well this season, I'm thinking Aston Villa, I'm thinking Real Madrid, the first half of Everton, the majority of the Bournemouth game, with the exception of like 20 or so minutes in that one. Atletico, it was where the players were so comfortable in their more natural positions. Szoboszlai was doing all the running. McAllister was sat deep line playmaking. Salah was closer to goal. Gakpo was slightly closer to goal. Kirkez was out wide. They're just not being used correctly. That's the problem. Salah, how is it that when we play like an inverted fullback, Conor Bradley and Joe Gomez are closer to the goal than what Mo Salah is? Of course, Mo Salah's goals are going to dry up because of that. Of course, his touches in the box are going to dry up because of that. This is why these mainstream media pundits are not looking at the overall picture. They're looking at numbers and going, well, Salah's goals have dried up, which means he's gone. He's done out here. No, look at the underlying reasons as to why. We're playing our fullbacks closer to the goal than our main goal scorer for the past several years, our main assist maker for the past several years. Look at why. Don't just look at the numbers. Stats only tell half the story. This is what I keep telling people. Stats only tell half the story. Look at the reasons behind them. Look at the whys rather than the what ifs and the whats and all of that stuff. It's absolutely bizarre. And like you say, he has got no idea how to utilize Mo Salah. He's got no idea how to utilize any of these players right now because he basically tore up the winning formula of last season and went, right, we're going to tear this up and we're going to start afresh. We're going to do something completely different. And it just does not suit these players whatsoever. It really, really doesn't suit these players whatsoever. It's just bizarre, man. Morning, Dean. Hope you're doing well, my bro. Good to have you here with us. Do you have any good news, my friend? The good news is that... Nope. I haven't got any. The good news is that we didn't lose last night. Oh, no, we still did because we're actually now behind Man United in the table. We actually did lose last night without even kicking a ball. I've got nothing, bruv. I've got absolutely nothing. I've got no good news whatsoever on this. Oh, dear. Frankly, what the board should have done would be to sack Slot already after Leeds. I mean, they could just based it all on the Leeds result and then, of course, the previous results, not the Salah thing. Yeah, like I say, I think as much as I understand Salah's frustration, I'm not exactly happy with him going public about it, but it does seem like it has inadvertently saved Slot's job for at least another game or a week or 2 weeks or something. But in my personal opinion, Slot only goes if the results continue, of course, and when Salah goes. As soon as Salah's gone, Slot's free to go. It's just the way that it is. Bless her, mate. We need to link up. You got X. Yeah, man. I would love to. Would love to at some point if and when my schedule allows it. Yeah, X. Fletch 1296 on. Yeah, Fletch 1296 on X. I believe it's in my YouTube bio. I think. Yeah, I think it's in my YouTube bio. So you can find it there, or just Fletch 1296 on Twitter /X. I'm sure that. You'll be able to find it from there, my bro. But Fletch 1296 is what I am known as on Twitter. Like I say, big up to each and every single one of you for being here. Smash the like on the video and subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. So yeah, we've talked conspiracy theory, which is bizarre to think that a club... How does a club go from being Premier League champions, having the main man in the attack that carried the attack last season, just be tossed aside like he's nothing? A legend of the club, arguably Liverpool's Premier League GOAT. What is going on, man? What is going on? It makes no sense whatsoever. But then, of course, last night, Sky Sports bigged it up as this huge moment in TV history. Jamie Carragher was going to respond to Mohammed Salah's comments after Salah, of course, name-dropped him in his interview last Saturday. I kind of knew how, or I kind of had a vague sort of understanding as to how this was going down. Did I think it would get to the point that it did? No, not necessarily. But it's an 8.5 minute monologue, pretty much, from Jamie Carragher. The most amusing and highlighting thing of the whole thing is that Carragher says he's never criticised Mo Salah on the pitch. To which the host says, well, a couple of weeks ago, you said his legs had gone. Which I thought was very, very amusing. And obviously, yeah. So I thought that was kind of amusing, and obviously called out Jamie Carragher's line, which I wasn't expecting, to be honest, because I don't normally anticipate Sky Sports hosts calling out Sky Sports pundits for their lies. But yes, that genuinely did happen. Another amusing thing was that Sky put up a graphic of how Mo Salah and his distance covered this season compared to last. And although Jamie Carragher said that his legs are gone, it actually is proven by Sky Sports that the distance covered by Mo Salah this season is actually more than what he covered last season so far. So I don't know what it means by his legs are gone. Jamie Carragher just talking nonsense, I guess. Like I say, I'm not exactly big fan of Jamie Carragher as a pundit, but it just seemed very strange to me, all of these things. But no, here, where do we begin? Where do we begin? So we'll start here. Bear with me one sec, guys. We'll start here.
And when Mo Salah's talking about how many goals he scored, I've got more goals than anyone in the Premier League, what I did last season, he's always speaking about himself.
I think this is in order, by the way. I apologise if it's not. I can't remember off the top of my head now.
One thing
I got it already.
Sort of remind Mo Salah, maybe his agent, is that before he come to Liverpool, Mo Salah was known as the guy who failed at Chelsea. That's just a fact. He'd never won a...
Completely irrelevant to the conversation, in my opinion. Completely irrelevant to the conversation, in my personal opinion. Look, maybe he was a flop at Chelsea. But what's that got to do with what he said on Saturday? It's got no relevance, in my opinion. It's a personal attack from Jamie Carragher, who seemingly is very sensitive to the fact that Salah name-dropped him in his interview. But the reason why Mo Salah name-dropped him in his interview is because he's known for years that Jamie Carragher goes after Mo Salah. At every opportunity that Liverpool are seemingly struggling or something negative is happening surrounding Liverpool, 9 times out of 10, Carragher normally points the finger of blame at Mohammed Salah. So Salah was already anticipating Carragher to fire back. And of course he was going to, because, it's Jamie Carragher and he can't let it lie. But to go in on Salah for being a flop at Chelsea, let's take away from the fact, by the way, that, he was really good at Basel and he was really good at Fiorentina and Roma. Like, he had very good spells with those clubs. Let's just ignore that. No. It's not relevant to being in the English Premier League, is it? No. He was a flop at Chelsea. Jose Mourinho said he wasn't a flop at Chelsea. He just couldn't find a way to play him in that team. And maybe he was a little bit too raw at the time to fit in with his Chelsea setup. Reason why is because he said, well, he signed him. It was just over his head what happened. So, not necessarily a flop, just maybe the wrong team at the wrong time, maybe. But to go in on how he was a flop at Chelsea, just to me, strikes me as so out, just so out there and just so irrelevant to the conversation. And that's what I found mostly about this 8.5 minute monologue or whatever it was that he went on. Like, most of it was personal from Jamie Carragher. There were 1 or 2 bits that I agreed with in the whole thing. But for the most part, it just seemed like he was very bitter to be name dropped. And of course, he was acting under the pretense of how dare you disrespect my club and all of that stuff. But you wouldn't have known it from his monologue because it sounded like it was just Mo Salah attacks Jamie Carragher and Carragher has the right to respond, which he does. He has the right to respond because Salah obviously name dropped him in it. But at the same time, in saying that, keep it relevant to the point. Keep it relevant to the story. Talking about his stay at Chelsea irrelevant to the story. Irrelevant.
A major trophy before he came to Liverpool. He's also the greatest player his country have ever had in Egypt.
Just sugarcoating that with, you're a flop, but you're also the greatest in Egypt.
Egypt, in the African Cup of Nations, are the most successful nation. He's going there in a couple of weeks. Mo Salah's never won the AFCON.
Well, according to you, Jamie, it doesn't matter if he's won an AFCON or not, because it's not a major trophy, is it? Do you remember when you said that? All of a sudden, it's a big deal. All of a sudden, it's a big deal to win the AFCON. But you said it wasn't a major trophy, didn't you? You said it was not a major tournament. So which one is it, Mr. Carragher? Which one is it, bruv? Is it a major tournament or is it not? And this is what I love as well. You know when Salah said that, or basically stated that, you know, he's the main reason why Liverpool were Premier League champions. Words to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. I don't agree with that, obviously, but it's incredible that a lot of people think pinpoint Mo Salah in this situation, whilst also forgetting it's a team game. But when they hear stuff like that, it's like, well, it's a team game. So which one is it? You're pinpointing the blame on him for being poor. No one else gets this level of scrutiny. A lot of people I've seen compare, you know, Andy Robertson sitting on the bench from Milos Kerkez as well. Robertson's getting on with it. Well, Federico Chiesa's getting on with it. Neither of them two have called out the club or Arne Slot in the media the way that Salah has done, because Mo Salah is the one getting the most criticism for Liverpool being poor, even though it's not his fault. No one sat there blaming Andy Robertson. No one sat there blaming Federico Chiesa. They're blaming Salah, forgetting it's a team game until, of course, it's a success and then it's a team game. Again, which one is it, guys? Pick a side here.
That is not me trying to put Mo Salah down as a player. I've just said he's one of the best players in the world in the last 8 years. Very few better. But what it tells Mo Salah and his agent is, it's not about an individual. You weren't a big star before you come to Liverpool. You haven't really won anything with Egypt anyway. And all that's telling you is, no matter how good a player you are, you need help from your teammates, your manager, and fans. And I think that's really important that he remembers that.
So why is he being blamed then? Why, if it's a team game, if it's all about the team rather than just an individual, why is he the main poster boy for why Liverpool are flopping? Why is he the poster boy for it? Again, you can look at Gakpo and you can look at Konate as prime individuals who have made many mistakes. You can even look at Virgil van Dijk, who hasn't been great this season. But Salah's the one that gets it from the media. Salah's the one that has got it from Arne Slot as well, in terms of being benched when he could bench a whole host of other players who haven't performed well. But it seems that Salah's been the one to be made a prime example of. Why is that? Again, it's not just about looking at what's going on. It's about trying to understand why, looking at the different factors as to why. And I don't think Carragher really addressed that, particularly in that piece there. So apparently Salah was on the training ground yesterday with the team. I saw clips of him smiling and joking with his teammates. This was before he got the message that he wouldn't travel to Inter. Yeah, same. I saw that as well. It was, again, it's very, very strange situation. It's a very, very strange situation because, again, after everything that he said and, you know, with the way that, you know, various reports are coming out saying that everybody's so divided over it, like, would you be smiling and laughing with your teammates and like just pretending like nothing really happened? Also, from Slot's press conference, it sounded like he's not really spoken to Salah since. I'm sorry, but after what had happened, wouldn't you pull Salah aside or something and go, bruv, what the hell was that all about on Saturday? Do you want to explain some of these comments? Like, what? It made it sound like he wasn't, that he didn't, like he didn't talk to him about it, which is so freaking weird. Big up, bro. Hope you're doing well. Lovely to have you here with us. Hello from North Cyprus. Hello to you, sir. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to say Brendan Rodgers did the same thing to Steven Gerrard. Salah is absolutely right to speak out, and I bet he's got most of his teammates behind him. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Brendan Rodgers did do this with Steven Gerrard. He tried to make an example of Steven Gerrard, and I think I've alluded to in a previous stream as well that Slot decided last year to do it with the kids. He alienated the kids, which is why, you know, Harvey Elliott didn't see many minutes, which is why Tyler Morton was eventually shipped out. There was another one as well whose name escapes me off the top of my head. But this season, we've already heard that Trey and Yoni is also a bit confused about playing time and things like that. And again, I'm looking at that midfield and I'm like, we need a shot of energy or something. Play Trey and Yoni a little bit more than what you have been doing, in all honesty. But yeah, you were right. Like we saw that last season, he did it with the kids, and this season he seems to have moved on to the senior players. He seems to have, whether it's word from the hierarchy at the club to do this, which, for use of a better word, Arne Slot, if that is genuinely the case, then you are just a bitch at the end of the day, aren't you? You are just a bitch. If you obviously are not standing your ground and saying, no, this guy was a massive, massive reason as to why we won the Premier League title last season, he clearly hasn't fallen off. It's just not being moved into the right position correctly. Then why has suddenly a Premier League title decided, oh, I'm going to throw my weight around now. I'm going to tell the biggest player in this team, who's on the most money, who's obviously been such an amazing servant to the club and has got all of the vast majority of goals and assists these past several years. I'm going to tell him, you're on the bench. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what these guys do. You are on the bench. It makes no sense to me. But yes, you are right in terms of the whole Brendan Rodgers and Steven Gerrard thing. Very, very strange. His legs are gone only means one thing, but it's clear his legs haven't gone though. That's seemingly the point there. I think Carragher's just completely misread everything. Big up Marco is in the building. Lovely to have you here, my bro. Great to have you this morning. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Big up Chasing Rabbits, who's in the building. Lovely to have you here as well. Salah hasn't been performing as he should. So he should be benched. We can't rotate Van Dijk or Konate because we're limited with options. Bro, I'm going to say this. Like, I understand where you're coming from. And I said this in a previous stream similarly to you, that we are struggling with options in that area. But that doesn't excuse the lack of options for Gakpo. Gakpo can also be dropped. We can put Engamoa in there as something different and something a bit fresh and a bit of a wild card. And we can also play Chiesa there. Wirtz has also played on the left this season. Ekatike can play on that side as well. So it's not like we're lacking options for Gakpo. And as well as that, I understand that we don't have too many options in the centre-back position. Gomez, obviously. But even if we had to look into our youth academy, I don't think they can do much worse than what Van Dijk and Konate are doing right now. I genuinely don't think they can do much worse than them. So if we were to rotate them and they were to perform poorly, the worst case scenario is they're probably just as bad as what Konate and Van Dijk have been doing this season. Is it maybe right to throw a young kid in the mix, considering the squad has its mentality and form and confidence in the gutter? Maybe not. But at the same time, I'd rather Slot do something different so that I can sit there and go, well, at least he's trying some different things, rather than go for the same thing each and every single game week, expecting different results, not getting them, but going, well, I'm stubborn enough to go with the same thing again next week. I'd rather try something different than do the same thing expecting different results. Konate and Van Dijk have been poor. They are fortunate that they don't have a great plethora of options in that position. I get that. But at the same time, the players that come in for him, whoever they are, can't be as bad as what they are performing right now. They just can't be they can't be worse. Sorry. They can't be worse than what they are performing right now. They can be as bad or they can be better. They can't be any worse. Salah did the same thing with Salah did the same thing with Klopp. He's a difficult player to deal with. I get that, but at the same time, because again, I don't fully agree with everything Salah said. You shouldn't. I'm hoping that the whole "I don't need to fight for my place" thing, I should be there, is like kind of lost in translation, and kind of he didn't maybe explain himself very well in terms of that. But at the same time, like that's the only thing I don't necessarily agree with. But that and the fact that he pretty much said that he won the Premier League title single-handedly. Those two things I genuinely don't agree with. But for the most part, like I say, it's not just about him. There is a bigger picture at play, and people seem to pick and choose when they want to play that kind of card. It's very, very strange. I understand. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the game at West Ham, the last game against West Ham under Klopp, I believe. I 100% get where you're coming from. I'm just not. And I don't agree with, obviously, Salah airing the dirty laundry out in public. But at the same time, sometimes if you want to bring change, you're going to have to break the rules a little bit. And he's obviously broken the rule a little bit here. And he's gone public. He's entitled to his opinion. Maybe he could have gone about it in a different way. But for someone like Salah, in my opinion, to snap, there must have been some real cause for it, which is what I was saying earlier about this secret plot to sell Salah, even though he said that promises were broken. And that kind of leads me to think that he wanted to retire at Liverpool. But the club were like, no, we're going to move you on to Saudi because Saudi are going to pay good money for you whilst you are 33 years of age, whilst you are seemingly over the hill a little bit and coming towards the end of your career. Salah didn't want that. And maybe Salah was promised that in the contract negotiations to allow him to obviously sign that contract to protect the investment of the club. And that's where loyalty comes into it again. Loyalty from the club to the player, from the player to the club. It's the whole Isak thing again. Not completely, but there are elements of the story that are similar. Big up Lawrence is in the chat. Lovely to have you here, my friend. If opposition score at 60 minutes, you should blame the method on training because all players lost their focus. They lost by cardio, so managers should take note. Are you talking about the Leeds game? If you're talking about the Leeds game, it wasn't necessarily to do with cardio. It was more so to do with the fact that the mentality of this team is shot to pieces because everything was fine until Konate decides, I'm having no fun. I want to go sliding today. And then as soon as he goes sliding in for that stupidly needless challenge on the Leeds United player that was in the penalty area, that's it. The mentality of the team was shaken. And Leeds decided, right, we smell blood here. We can go for the kill. And they did. And to be fair to Liverpool, we got back into it. We got back into the game by going ahead again, which I wasn't necessarily expecting or anticipating. But again, as soon as we did, we decided, bit nervy, bit nervy, bit nervy, and it's gone. And we ended up drawing the game, which feels like a loss. I don't think it has anything to do with cardio. It's not like the legs of this team has fallen off like they did several years ago with, Henderson and Fabinho that year that then their legs completely fell off. You can maybe argue McAllister maybe, but again, he's not exactly in a role that's best suited to fit Alexis McAllister. But I wouldn't say it's cardio. I would probably say it is mentality. This team can't face adversity and deal with it well. Hence why against Galatasaray, when we conceded that very soft penalty, we didn't get back into the game. Hence why the Manchester City game, where we should have had a goal and an equaliser be scored by Van Dijk for that stupid offside call on Andy Robertson, we got hard done by the referee, no interference from VAR, and rather than go, right, we'll show them, we'll kick on, like we have done in the past, we cowered away in ourselves and went, oh, we feel sorry for ourselves, and ended up losing the game in humiliating fashion. This team can't deal with adversity. This team can't deal with being hard done by right now. There's a lack of mentality there. Sacking managers isn't the Liverpool way. Big up Shays in the building. Lovely to have you here, my friend. I get that, but there comes a point where you have to make that decision. And that decision should have been after Man United. It definitely should be after Nottingham Forest. And it definitely should have been after PSV. The fact that it wasn't and it hasn't happened yet is bizarre to me. This is a Premier League winning team who have had the worst defence of the Premier League title in history and have also spent 450 odd million to boot. And not only are they not only have they not defended their crown, and even though it's mathematically still possible, it's extremely unlikely that we're going to be doing that. We're also in danger of potentially not making the Champions League, which, as we know, money-wise, cha-ching, is going to be a big problem for us. That's going to be a big problem for us, not just in terms of, obviously, the financial aspect of wages and things like that, but in also, A, keeping players happy, and B, bringing in new players for next summer. That's going to be a problem. Slot is a Brendan Rodgers level manager or worse. At least Slot got over the finish line in terms of winning the Premier League title. Brendan Rodgers couldn't do that. So I wouldn't say he's a Brendan Rodgers level manager. I'd say he's a step above. Liverpool sacked Rodgers. Yeah, we did. And rightly so. Carragher tried to save face on the comments he made. He did. He went back and forth. He backtracked a little bit and went personal on Salah, there was no need to do so. Why isn't Slot playing Chiesa? That's the $1 million question. It boggles the mind, bro. The guy gives 120% in every time. Every time he touches the pitch, he gives 120%. And yet it's not good enough to warrant a start unless it's a Carabao Cup game. Make it make sense. Klopp doesn't treat players like communists. That's why he's a perfect man manager. He's a very, very good man manager. Like tactically, maybe not the best, but he got them players running through brick walls. Even when we weren't as good as what we were at times, even when we were going through some really rough patches, the players never gave up playing for Jurgen Klopp. Even when the year that I mentioned earlier about how Henderson's legs and Fabinho's legs fell off, it wasn't through a case of downing tools. It wasn't through not believing in the manager anymore that we lost so many games and went through really, really rough patches. It was just a case of their legs had just gave in and the club didn't really react to that. It wasn't through a lack of effort. There was plenty of effort there. Klopp doesn't treat players like... Oh, I just had that one just read it twice. Fair enough. Leeds gifted us 2 goals. Yeah. We gifted them 3. They gifted us 2. Yeah. That's the only way we score now. The only way we score is either a piece of individual magic or the opposition feeling sorry for us and gifting us 2 goals. I genuinely... there's nothing to suggest that Slot's going to turn this around. Nothing. I'm joking, by the way. Slot should have gone. He's shit. Absolutely agree. This season, at least, he is anyway. Like last season, he was great, and we can't deny that. But this season, he's decided to tear everything up and try and rebuild everything from scratch, and it just doesn't work. Wolves look like amateurs and also unfit. It looked like Sunday League. They won't win even one game this season. Don't say that, bro. We face them in 2 weeks. We face December 27th, Liverpool versus Wolves. If Wolves haven't won by then, Jesus freaking Christ, I am going to be absolutely terrified for that game. I'm going to be absolutely terrified. If this bold fraud is still in charge of us come that game, I am going to be terrified that we are going to be handing Wolves a late Christmas present in the form of their first win of the season and 3 points. I am terrified. If Rodgers had Van Dijk and Alisson, he would have won the league as well. Oh, absolutely, because the one thing that let Brendan Rodgers down in that in that season with Suarez was just not having a good defence. We conceded about half the goals that we scored, I think, if memory serves me correctly, or roughly about half the goals. Yeah, we weren't great defensively, and that's what let us down. That's ultimately what let us down. If we had a better goalkeeper and or a better centre-back, we probably would have won the league that year. But then again, if we did win the league that year, would we have then gone and got Jurgen Klopp? Would Klopp have came to Liverpool? So it's all about ripple effects and timey-wimey stuff. But yeah, so maybe not winning the league that year might have been a slight blessing in disguise for the long run. You never know. Who's next in line after Slot? Well, it seems that the club want Julian Nagelsmann, but we won't be able to get him until after the World Cup, which means that if Slot was to go, we're probably going to go down the interim manager route. And I said yesterday that although at the beginning I was kind of opposed to having someone like Steven Gerrard as our manager, it might not necessarily be a terrible idea to go down if obviously he's someone that the players will instantly love, instantly respect, and get on board with because he's a Liverpool legend at the club. He could steady the ship somewhat, bridge the gap that is seemingly widening between the fans and the club, and also kind of unionize the squad a little bit more. So I don't think if we are to go down that route, I don't think Steven Gerrard is a bad shout, to be honest with you. I don't personally like the interim manager route, especially because it can lead to you falling in love with an interim manager that is good for the initial period, but then long run wise, it doesn't quite work out. It's like falling in love with a loan player. Never ever fall in love with a loan player because they're just destined to break your heart and go on to somewhere else. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Xabi Alonso will be perfect for this team and already has a connection with the fans. Yeah, and Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes really love him. They really, really love him. And they wanted him, obviously, to try. They did everything that they could to try and convince him to join Liverpool after Klopp left. Xabi had his eyes on the Real Madrid job. They couldn't convince him, but things aren't quite all sunshine and rainbows at Real Madrid right now. Not all quite sunshine and rainbows, and that's another point, actually, isn't it? It's tomorrow. I thought it was tonight. It's tomorrow. Massive game for Real Madrid tomorrow night against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. So that's going to be big. That's going to be massive. Oh, here he is. Big up, Niche fan. Obviously, big win for your guys last night, taking on the mighty Wolverhampton Wanderers. 4-1 United was completely in charge. Amorim has the Prem by the scruff of the neck. Until you lose your next game, bruv. Until you lose your next game, we get it. Slot's going nowhere. You lot aren't a sacking club. I mean, he would be if this Salah thing hadn't have put his position in a slightly stronger one until Salah probably goes. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. Heitinger interim. Could happen. His name has been mentioned. And like I say, after the reports that came out this weekend, the on-running joke on these streams was that Johnny Heitinger was actually the brains behind the operation and was actually the glue that held it all together. Well, not so much a joke after the reports that were going around this weekend. It actually turned out that potentially it's true. Johnny Heitinger was a big cog in the machine at Liverpool last season, and then him leaving has seemingly caused chaos. Anyway, we're going to listen to a bit more of what Jamie Carragher said in last night's Sky bit. I think this is the first bit, actually. I think I've messed up.
A couple of days.
I think I've put the
What's your take?
I messed up a
I
little
thought it
bit.
was a disgrace what he did after the game. Some people have painted it as an emotional outburst. I don't think it was. I think whenever Mo Salah stops in a mix zone, which he's done 4 times in 8 years at Liverpool, it's choreographed with him and his agent to cause maximum damage and strengthen his own position. He did that 12 months ago, and I called him out on this show about it. And he played on the heartstrings of Liverpool supporters. Liverpool were top of the league. He'd scored.
Not really, considering that he was the best player in the Premier League. It was a no-brainer. The guy was 32 years of age. The guy was in peak physical condition, had an elite mindset, still does, still has all those things. Wasn't really playing on the heartstrings like he needed more support. He just wanted to call out the club for the reasons of Mo Salah. Like, wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like, you know, he needed any more support from the Liverpool fan base. We, as 99% of us, were all hoping that Mo Salah would sign a new deal. To call it a disgrace, look, I'm not a massive fan of him going public. I get that. I agree that he shouldn't have gone public. I agree that he's not the main. He's not like the main man. He's not like the only person, the be all and end all. And I think he also went on to say about how he should be fighting for his place. And that I agree with, but there's just certain things that I don't with what Carragher has said.
Or the winning goal at Southampton. That was the time to come out and put pressure on the Liverpool ownership. So if the rest of the season you have banners in the crowd, give Mo his dough. He's chose this weekend to do this now. And he's waited, I think, for a bad result with Liverpool. You can see the last-minute goal. Liverpool support.
He's waited for a bad result. He could have chosen any one of the other results. Like, Sunderland was a bad result. He could have came out then. Leeds. Bad result, 100%. Because again, he's seeing the same mistakes being made over and over again. He's seeing the same players put in calamity performances, but gets treated like it's nothing. It's bizarre.
As managers, the manager, everyone involved with the club feels like they're in the gutter at the moment, and he's chose that time to go for the manager and maybe try and get him sacked. That's the way I felt about it.
Jamie,
as it is us though, trying to get him sacked. All he did was he called Arne Slot out that the relationship has broken down between them. That's it. That's all he did. That's all he spoke about Slot for. That the relationship between them has broken down. That's all he basically said about Slot. He didn't say anything bad about him as a manager or critiqued him or whatever. He just said that, you know, he feels like someone at the club doesn't want him there. And again, I feel like if that someone that he was talking about was Arne Slot, he would have called out Arne Slot, because he already did call out Arne Slot for the relationship breaking down. And maybe that is on Slot, or maybe, as I mentioned earlier, it could potentially be a case of Slot's being told to distance himself from Mo Salah, so that Salah kicks up a fuss, turns the Liverpool fans against him, and therefore it's easier then for FSG to negotiate a deal that will appease the Liverpool fan base. The problem is that it's backfired, because the team are playing poorly, and the majority of Liverpool fans that I've seen online kind of side with Mo Salah on most of his points, because we see the bigger picture and we can read between the lines. Like I say, how is it fair that Mo Salah's dropped for 3 games in a row, but Cody Gakpo starts in all 3 of those games? How is it fair that Cody Gakpo gets hooked at half-time against Sunderland, conveniently and coincidentally for Mo Salah, but then is rewarded in that Leeds game by starting that game? What? How is it that in the games between Man City, Real Madrid and Aston Villa, Mo Salah starts all 3, Gakpo only starts 1, we pick up 6 points, and in 2 of those games play some really good football, play our best stuff of the season, and yet in the games between West Ham, Sunderland and Leeds United, 3 teams that we should be absolutely wiping the floor with all due respect to all 3 of those teams, we should be beating those teams. How is it that we not only pick up less points, I know we're unbeaten in those 3, but we pick up less points in those games, and not only that as well, but we concede, I believe, roughly about the same amount of chances, big chances, as what we did against the much better teams of an informed Aston Villa, of Real Madrid, the second best team in Spain, and of course Manchester City, the second best team in England. Again, look at the whys. Don't just look at what's in front of you. Look at the underlying meaning. Scratch deeper than the surface. It's bizarre, man. It's so bizarre. Choreographed stop in a mixed zone. It's Mo Salah. He's going to draw a crowd wherever he goes. Like, acting like he just does it for a show, or does it to obviously get the attention. Like, Mo Salah's a massive, monumental star. Like, he draws a crowd wherever he goes because he's Mo freaking Salah. It's bizarre, bro. It's absolutely bizarre what he's saying. And oh, hang on, why is that? Where's that gone? And this is the other one we'll play. This is the other one that Sky Sports put out, and I think they're missing a couple of quotes that I want to go through as well. So we'll go through these.
But the one time I wanted to be really critical and I held back this season about Mo Salah on the pitch, as I said before, I've never been critical of him on the pitch.
You were. I don't think this one. I don't think it's the clip, but he said his legs had gone a couple of weeks ago. I think it was on. I don't think it was on Sky. I think it was on the Champions League. I think it was after the Champions League game. He said that his legs had gone. So that's a lie.
He is a legend of the club, right? His legacy is there. If he doesn't score another goal or make another assist for this club, I don't care. He's been amazing. Where he really let himself down in my...
But that's been his game for many a year. His game for many a year has been to be successful in terms of goals and assists, because he's our main creative outlet and he's scored plenty of goals. Why wouldn't you want to utilize that whilst he's here? Why wouldn't you want to utilize that whilst he's here? Why wouldn't you want to maximize what you have of Mohammed Salah whilst he's here? That's his main game. Creating and scoring. He is lethal up front, as proven by the fact that he's got 250 odd goals for the club, as proven by the fact that he's won a couple of golden boots, as proven by the fact that, you know, the guy has scored consistently over 20 goals a season for the past 7 or 8 years. 8 or 9 years that he's been here. And obviously, even during certain bad seasons, Mo Salah has still managed to put up those numbers. Like, what are we doing here? Why are you basically saying, like, I don't care if he doesn't score goals? Well, he's not scoring plenty of goals right now, and you're still critical of him. It makes no sense, Jamie.
My eyes was this season in Frankfurt and another game where there's a guy who signed for Liverpool who needs a goal more than anyone, Florian Wirtz. Instead of just being a great player for the club, be a great ambassador for the club and roll that ball to him for an easy tap in and go over, give him a hug and a kiss and say, you know what, you're the guy who's going to take this Liverpool team forward. I don't need any more goals. I've seen Barnes at the end. I've seen Ian Rush at the end. I've seen Steven Gerrard.
Not to be kind of critical of Florian Wirtz, I understand the logic behind it. I understand that the better option would have been to roll that ball to Wirtz. I know exactly the chance he's talking about. I understand that the better idea would have been to roll it across to Wirtz. I'm not going to be critical of Wirtz on this. And I'm not going to be critical on Salah either. You know why? For 2 reasons. Number 1, Salah's natural instinct is to be a goal scorer. Taking the chance. If that was obviously like a 0-0 situation and we go on to lose or draw that game, I would then be more probably furious at Salah for not rolling the ball across goal for Wirtz to tap in. But given the context of the game, how we won that game, dominated that game, I can let it slide, right? Also, I don't see Jamie Carragher saying the same thing when a couple of other players have also had similar opportunities to play Wirtz in for an easy tap-in. There was one, I believe, and I don't want to keep sounding like I'm picking on him, but it's always this guy, Gakpo. I can't remember what game it was. You'll have to remind me. I can't remember what game it was, but there was one game where Gakpo on the left cuts inside and he tries to just roll it into the corner when an easy tap in for Wirtz was just waiting in the center of the box. I can't remember what game it was. But it was a similar incident. Is he going to call out Gakpo for that? No? All right, then. There we are.
At the end, do you think they were the same players in the pomp? Of course they weren't. Do supporters think any differently of them now? When they see them, they say, no, these are the top 5 or 6 players to ever play for Liverpool. And the same will be said of Salah. So in terms of on the pitch, the one criticism I've got, help the other players, help Florian Wirtz, help Isak. Don't be obsessed with your own numbers. And don't, as I said, what he's done off the pitch, I think the club have made the right decision in terms of him not going abroad now. And whether he will play for Liverpool.
He does help them. And Florian Wirtz has even said he's helped him off the pitch, on the pitch. Just saying, Jamie.
I don't know. I hope he does, because he's one of the greatest players we've ever had. But if you continue like that and statements like that, if he doesn't play, as I said, who cares? Who knows?
Who cares? Who knows? This guy, man. This guy. Unbelievable. What a sad ending to Salah at Liverpool. It seems that way, doesn't it? It seems like the sun is setting on this chapter. Big old Ballamu's in the building. Lovely to have you here, my bro. Have I ever criticised Salah? Yes, last week. Yeah, he did. He genuinely did. I can't stay for too long. Premier League prediction video later this week. Yeah, of course. We'll be back tomorrow for the reaction to Liverpool's game against Inter. Same time, same place. And then the Premier League predictions video, which will be out Thursday or Friday, one of them two. We'll see. There was a few occasions Salah should have passed it to Wirtz. That I agree with. Wirtz could have had a few goals on the board already. 100%, but Salah's not the only one. Like I say, Gakpo did it. I think there was one, was it Isak or Ekatike? One of them two had an opportunity to do it. I think Szoboszlai had one as well. You know, there's been a few where Wirtz has found himself into the right position, but they've just not found him. They've just not found him. But I don't see anybody going in on those players that have done it. I just want to see if did I save the quote? Yeah, found it. Jamie Carragher. Now this I can't believe he actually said this one. This quote really, really, really triggered me. This quote, this one really annoyed me. And it's probably understandable as to why Sky Sports haven't put it on there. Jamie Carragher said this: when we are talking about throwing people under the bus, he's threw Liverpool right back under the bus for the past 8 years. Can you imagine playing behind him for 8 years? But we accept it because he's a superstar. And he's scored 250 goals. And he's given me, as a Liverpool supporter, one of the greatest nights of my life. I read that and I was like, this can't be genuine. This can't be real. Where has this come from all of a sudden? Before it was Trent can't defend. Trent's suspect defending. All of a sudden now it's Salah's fault. Salah didn't track back. He exposed Trent. He didn't help Trent. Poor Trent. How has this now become the agenda and motive? What are you talking about, Jamie Carragher? Not only that as well, but until last season, Salah actually did track back for the most part. Salah actually did do his defensive duties. It was only until last season where him and Slot reportedly came to an understanding that Salah didn't have to track back as much as long as he was obviously doing the business at the other end of the pitch. And Salah was definitely doing the business at the other end of the pitch. So if you want to flip it, Mr. Carragher, let's say that you are right in terms of he didn't track back enough, he didn't help out defensively enough. He was the one who had the most responsibility in the final third of the pitch to score the goals, to assist the goals, and to drag Liverpool up the table in the attacking sense. What are you genuinely talking about by now throwing him, in your words, and I know you're trying to do obviously what Salah did and do the quote and everything, but what are you talking about with the whole throwing him under the bus thing? This, again, feels like a personal attack on Salah just because Jamie Carragher is so sensitive in the fact that Salah name-dropped him in his interview. Salah name-dropped him, and he's took it personally, and he's decided to be a sensitive little whiny bitch about it. And I'll say that again. He has been. Because I don't personally get it. What is that quote about? What is that quote about? And also, let's just say that, again, let's say Carragher's right about him not tracking back enough. Is that on Salah or is that on the manager? Answer me that one. Is that on Salah for going rogue against the manager's tactics? Or is that the manager's tactics telling Salah, don't do as much defending as you normally would? Because it's not on Salah then, is it? It was a stupid, strange, moronic comment that I really triggered me when I read it last night. It really did. Because it's so stupid. It's so stupid, and it just reeks of desperation for Jamie Carragher, and it reeks of being sensitive about the fact that Salah name-dropped him in his interview. That's it. Nothing else, nothing more. It was so strange. I didn't get the narrative. I really didn't get the narrative. It was so weird. And even when you look at that Jurgen Klopp system of the past several years, right? Salah also had help on that right-hand side from a certain Jordan Henderson. Because it not only meant that Henderson was able to get about the pitch, it also meant that Trent could venture forward and use that creative brain and that incredible right foot of his to play those kinds of passes, to be the creative sparks in the team. That's what it allowed. Jordan Henderson's role was just as important as Trent's and Salah's in that Jurgen Klopp team. And defensively, Henderson helped Trent out a lot more on that right-hand side than what we're seeing right now. But all of a sudden, Salah didn't track back enough. Well, why don't you mention that over the past several years? Because to my memory, my recollection, and I know my memory's terrible, I know my memory's bad, but I don't remember you calling it out at any other stage during Jurgen Klopp's stay or during last season. I don't remember you calling that out. I don't remember you also flipping it and going, who's got the most responsibility on their shoulders for scoring goals and assisting goals at Liverpool Football Club? Oh, it's Mo Salah. Why doesn't anyone else help? Why doesn't anyone else chip in? Where's the contributions from Diaz or Gakpo to take the reins and to obviously step up whenever Mo Salah's not quite firing on all cylinders? It was a stupid comment. And it really did irritate me, that. It really did irritate me. Really did irritate me. I genuinely did not understand his comment at all. I really did not understand that personal one at all. Like I say, the reaction from Jamie Carragher, go and search it on Sky Sports' YouTube page. It's like 8.5 minutes long. Go and search it. The vast majority of it is Carragher basically being a whiny, sensitive little baby about it and basically offering a personal attack on Salah. Talking about Salah's time at Chelsea. Talking about how he's never won AFCON. Talking about this, that he never helped Trent out. Personal attacks that are not relevant to the conversation just because Salah called him out. And Salah's I hope Salah's sat there laughing right now. I hope Salah is sat there laughing at Carragher's comments for how poor they were. I agree on Carragher saying that that he shouldn't have done it. I agree with not airing your dirty laundry out in public. Carragher also made reference to the fact that, no one should be automatically on the team sheet without obviously fighting for it. I get that. But there's so much wrong with what Carragher said, in my personal opinion. So much wrong in terms of the personal attacks, what he basically has stated, not understanding why Salah has dropped off, not understanding what the overall reasons are for Salah's drop off, that kind of thing. It's so bad from what is meant to be a top pundit in the game right now. The best night Salah gave me of my life as a Liverpool fan. Is that the Champions League win against Spurs he is referring to? I assume it is. It could also be when we officially won the Premier League title. It could be any one of them, to be honest. It could be the Champions League. It could be when we won the title last year. It could be when we won the title in... I mean, it might not have been when we won the title during COVID season, but I assume it's either last year or it is the Champions League. That would probably be a smart bet to narrow it down to. We have to remember Salah is important and he helped Liverpool win not one but 2 Premier Leagues. He's a major cog in the machine, bro. He's a major cog in the machine. We get that. And like I say, no one is what's the word I'm looking for? No one in this situation right now that we find ourselves in is blameless. No one is escaping criticism. But in saying that, it's just bizarre that the way that I think Carragher's gone about it. Like, I understand he was always going to reply, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sky Sports really leaned into it and they were really like, you've got to say something. You have to say something because, think about it. Think about the views it's going to get. Think about this. Think about that. So... I just wouldn't be surprised if Sky leaned into it. But at the same time, in saying that, it's just bizarre, man. It's just his 8.5-minute rant was not good whatsoever. Just not good whatsoever, in my personal opinion. Most of it was a personal attack that was completely irrelevant to the conversation. Most of it was... most of it was that. Some of it I agreed with, and some of it I just found to be like, what are you talking about? What genuinely are you talking about? I mean, the comment about throwing the Liverpool right back under the bus for a number of years, that's not on Mo Salah. That is on the system that the 2 managers that he's played under set out for him. That is on, not even purely based on truth, to be honest, because he did track back many a times under Jurgen Klopp. Did I see him track back and help out Trent Alexander-Arnold defensively, the same way Jordan Henderson did. But he also was a main player in the attack. And when he had Firmino and Mane alongside him, he didn't have to be as the main man as what he was last season. He was still obviously getting more of the goals and more of the assists because he's just that good of a player. But when he had Firmino and Mane alongside him, at least he had competent players alongside him. Last year, although the likes of Diaz and Gakpo had their best seasons goal-scoring wise in a Liverpool shirt, it was still a struggle because there was a number of chances that Salah created that they didn't finish. Darwin Núñez being another one. And yet, Salah stepped up when it mattered most. Salah had the most responsibility on his shoulders to get the goals at the other end of the pitch. You can sit here talking about defensively all you want. But again, it comes down to this sort of mindset that Carragher seemingly played both sides of the coin with, which is, you're not the only person in the team. Oh, but we're going to criticize you as if you are. Well, which one is it? You're criticizing him for not helping out the team, but he is helping out the team. He's doing arguably the most difficult thing in football to do, put the ball into the back of the net. He had that responsibility squarely on his shoulders, and he stepped up and said, give me that responsibility. He said, I will sacrifice my work rate. Last season, he said he will sacrifice not helping the team out defensively as much because he knows and he trusts in his ability to find the back of the net. He trusted in his ability to win games pretty much on his own. That's why he had probably the ego that he did to go, well, I somewhat carried this Liverpool team. And offensively, he kind of did. I don't necessarily fully agree with it, but there is at least an argument to suggest that he did. Because you take away the goals and the assists that he created last season, Liverpool don't win the league. Liverpool don't win the league. You take away the goals and the assists. If he's not there, okay, maybe some of the goals and some of the assists get spread around the team and maybe whoever does replace him. But Liverpool still don't win the league because Mo Salah was a match winner. Mo Salah was the guy. He had the most difficult responsibility squarely on his shoulders, and he went, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that responsibility, and I will come back smelling of roses. I will come back with the gold, with the silverware. And that's exactly what that man did. Exactly what that man did. Like I say, I just find it weird. I think Carragher's attack on him was completely stupid, unprovoked, a nonsensical 8.5-minute rant for the most part. He does make some comments that I agree with, but they're the most basic ones. They're the most basic ones that I would think that any and every Liverpool fan probably would agree with. Like, you don't automatically get into the team regardless of your reputation. You have to fight for that place each and every time you step onto the pitch. You have to go, this is my position. No one's taking it off me. I'm going to give it 120% and I'm going to prove why I am undroppable. This season, you've proven that you are droppable. You should be dropped. No one, again, is denying that. But the fact of the matter is that if you're going to drop Mo Salah for being poor, you have to do the same for other players that are in the team. And again, Kanate and Gakpo stick out like sore thumbs. But they're not the only two. McAllister's been poor this season. You know, Van Dijk's been poor this season. Kirkez is not being used properly. But if that's the case, find someone who will fit that role more. Just shambles, man. Shambles. All the way. And to make matters worse, you wouldn't believe it with all the overshadowing that this situation has done. But to make matters worse, guys, we have a game tonight. Liverpool are in Milan. Liverpool are in Italy. Liverpool are about to take on Inter Milan at the San Siro, away from home. And I am absolutely terrified we are going to get absolutely destroyed. This is an Inter Milan team which are currently sat in Serie A, 1 point behind the joint league leaders of Napoli and AC Milan. They have a decent defence, not the best, but a decent defence. But the absolute killer stat for AC Milan this season, Inter Milan this season, they've scored 32 goals. Inter Milan have scored 32 goals in Serie A this season. 10 wins from 14 games, and they've scored 32 goals. They scored the most amount of goals in Serie A this season. Bologna, I believe, are second in the goal-scoring charts with 23. 9 less than what Inter have scored. A solid defence. An insane attack. Liverpool struggle so much with Italian teams in the Champions League over recent years. Napoli still is a nightmare to me. We're going to get absolutely fried, cooked, battered, whatever kind of word you want to use, whatever kind of word and phrasing you want to use. Liverpool Football Club tonight are going into a game against one of the top teams in Europe right now, one of the top teams in Italy, one of the top informed teams around the world, and we are going to get absolutely smoked. We are getting absolutely smoked tonight. I don't want to. I want to win. Even if I want Arne Slot out, that does not mean I don't want to ever lose a game to suit and fit my agenda. That's not what is happening here. It's simply a case of I don't see how we win. I genuinely don't see how we win this game. I'm scared. And to make matters worse, we are only going into this game with one fit winger. Mo Salah's being left at home. Cody Gakpo is injured. I don't celebrate injuries, but I do feel like this is the only scenario where Slot would be forced to actually bench or not even play Cody Gakpo is for injury. I'm not celebrating the injury, of course not. That would be horrible. But even despite the injury, I still wouldn't be surprised if Slot did actually try and see if Gakpo would be still able to participate in the game for however many minutes. Because that's just the way that I feel about his affiliation with him right now. He would try anything and everything to get him on that pitch. Chiesa's ill, so there's no Chiesa tonight. Conveniently, because I feel like this would have been the one game he would have started, Federico Chiesa, given the fact that everybody's ill or injured and Salah's not there. So we're going into this game with only one proper winger in the form of Rio Ngamoa, a 17-year-old kid who Arne Slot has already said this season has already played enough minutes. Which is a ridiculous statement. Again, another ridiculous statement in a whole list of ridiculous statements that this bald-headed fraud has decided to spout out this season. How can you say that Ngamo has played enough minutes for someone of his age? A year older is someone like Esteval at Chelsea, for example. A year or two older is someone like Lamine Yamal at Barcelona. These guys are killing it right now, playing minutes, playing games, playing consistently and constantly, and yet you decide, nah, Ngamo has played enough this season. He's probably played about a game in total. How can you say that? I'm hoping Slot does the right thing tonight and he plays the kid. I know it's going to be a tough game for him. I know it's going to be I know it's going to be a difficult game, but in saying that, he's the more natural left winger he's the most natural left winger that we have right now. And not only that as well, but I want him to try something different. I want him to try something different rather than the tried and tested and failed stuff that he constantly and consistently does game in, game out. Do something different. And not only that as well, but give us some excitement. give us at least something that we can hold on to this. No, not many Liverpool fans are going into this with any sort of confidence whatsoever. There might be a few out there that are, but not many people are going into this game with a lot of confidence that we're going to win this game or even get a draw from this game. So play Ngamoa. Give us something to be excited about, because this guy is someone that I believe can get Liverpool fans off their seats and at least excited every time he gets the ball. Just do something different, because otherwise I'm predicting that Alisson will be in goal. Conor Bradley will be at right back. Probably Robertson at left back tonight. He probably will go with Robertson over Kirkes. Van Dijk and Kanate, obviously, centre backs. He'll go with Gravenberch. He'll go with McAllister, probably, if he's back. He'll probably then go Florian Wirtz. Szoboszlai on the right. Curtis Jones might be thrown into the midfield. And then Isak. That's how I'm imagining the game going tonight. A midfield three of Jones, McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai on the right, Florian Wirtz on the left, and then Isak up front. Maybe he throws a bit of a curveball. Maybe he actually plays Ekatike and Isak together. I doubt it, but it's possible. Either way, I don't have any hope tonight. I really don't. I'm going 3-1 Inter. 3-1 Inter. And the only reason why I think that we get a goal is because I think Szoboszlai probably tries a shot from about 40 yards, which is a screamer, and finds the back of the net. Again, another moment of magic. Another moment of magic. Another moment of magic. And that's it. And that's all she wrote. Anybody confident at all tonight, Liverpool fans? Anybody at all? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I'm genuinely not confident whatsoever. Genuinely not. Marcus says, I will never understand how a team can go from winning everything to suddenly losing everything. Not a slight dip in form with more draws, just a complete fall off a cliff with 400 million spent already. That's the Arne Slot way, apparently. It's the Arne Slot way. Carragher like Keir Starmer that says enough. When was the last time Liverpool played at the San Siro? I want to say it was 20... No, because that was the year we got knocked out by Atletico. It wasn't 1920. Or was it 1920? Was it 1920? Let me have a look. I know it was between 2019 and 2022, I believe. I remember. Here we are. It was the 2021-22 season. It was in the last 16. And Liverpool won 2-0. Liverpool managed to win 2-0. And then in the second leg, Liverpool lost 1-0. But obviously qualified from the first leg. From the aggregate scoreline. Lost 1-0 at Anfield. Yeah, Martinez got the goal. Martinez with the goal and managed to hold on from there to win the game. But yeah, last time we played at the San Siro was in 2022. We won 2-0 and we've not played them since. Yeah, not great. Not great. No hope, mate. Yeah, I feel you. 2022. Yeah. 21-22 season. Managed to go through in the end, but was that the game where Martin? Yeah, I thought when it said Martinez scored, I was like, I feel like I remember the goal. I feel like I remember it. But I couldn't remember if it was that game or even if it was against us. Like everything's just a blur. Did Liverpool not play AC Milan in the Champions League in the last 2 or 3 years? Yeah, we played them in the group stages a couple of years ago. That was the game where we won 3-2. I want to say Henderson scored the winner. I think he went a bit like channeled his inner Steven Gerrard and just ripped it into the bottom corner. We were 2-0 up in that game and we bottled another 2-goal lead. I believe. I could be wrong in thinking of that. Might be another game. But I remember Henderson definitely got the winning goal in that one. Yeah, we've definitely played AC Milan a couple of times over the past few years. But that was the same year. Same group stage. Yeah. If I remember correctly, we won 3-2. Henderson got the winner. Did Pulisic score for AC Milan? Was Pulisic one of the goal scorers for AC Milan? I think we played them last year as well. I swear we played them last year as well. Because I might be getting... Because I definitely remember Pulisic scoring against us. But I might be confusing the two games. Yes, we did play them in 2024. We won 3-1. Paulo Fonseca, of course, the manager. Yeah. Goals from Kanate, Van Dijk, Szoboszlai. Yeah, that must have been it. And then in the 2021, we won 3-2. That was the game where Henderson scored the winner. And then in the reverse fixture, we won 2-1 again. Salah and Origi. It's a shame that the only one we've won in recent, the only one we lost in recent memory was in 2007, the final there. Such a shame. Such a shame. It was Pulisic, yeah. It was Pulisic who scored last year. See, my memory's not that bad. It's just that I say it and I don't believe it. It makes me question it. It makes me it makes me think. 17th September 2024 league phase match day 1, AC Milan 3. AC Milan 1, Liverpool 3. That was the one I was thinking of. That one was the one where Pulisic scored last year. Yeah. I got them a little confused, but the 3-2-1 was definitely Henderson. Definitely Henderson. I remember that. Pulisic went, yeah. We've cleared that up. Imagine sharing a stadium with another team. It's an interesting idea. I don't know how it necessarily works and whether or not both sets of fans are happy with it, although it is obviously a very iconic stadium and obviously a very well-known and notorious stadium. I don't know how both sets of fans feel about it, whether they'd be better having their own separate ground or whether they're happy sharing a ground. I don't know. But it's a unique concept. It's a very unique concept. So yeah, we got a game tonight. We've got this Mo Salah situation happening in the background. I swear to God, guys, one day we'll go back to being happy again. One day. One glorious, glorious day we'll go back to being happy again. I hope. I pray. I wish. Maybe. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know. I really, really don't know. I don't know. There we go. Just tidying up some things. We just need Slot sacked. Yeah. Like I say, should have gone a long time ago. The weird thing is that I swear that in the so-called emergency meetings that Liverpool have been hosting over the past several weeks, which seems to be a lot of emergency meetings, I swear he had to win these 2 games against Sunderland and Leeds to stay in the job. And then he hasn't. So what's that all about? Draws, you may say that they're effective. I say they are useless to us. Like, I don't get it. I don't get how he's still here. I really, really don't. I'm now looking at that Chiesa moment and going, why didn't you just slip? I'm joking. If there was ever someone, though, that, you know, you would probably be like, I don't blame him for conveniently putting that ball in the back of in the back of the net or whatever. Probably would have been Chiesa, to be fair. That moment. Oh dear. Should have gone straight after the PSV game. For me, he should have gone after Man United, but he definitely should have gone after Nottingham Forest, and he definitely should have gone after PSV. You can take your pick on one of those 3. He should have definitely gone after, or anywhere in between those should he have gone. But they decided to stick with him. And I don't understand why. I've lost respect for Carragher. Like I say, since he got buddied up with Gary Neville and since he's gone on Sky and everything, and I've not really been a fan of his work, to be honest. I've very rarely been a fan of his work. Not everything, but at the same time, most of his stuff I've just not been a fan of. Plus, he says it's a disgrace, even though he spat at a kid. I'm just saying. I don't ever want to like hold that against him because he has addressed it and has apologized. But I just thought I'd throw that in there as a bit of a jab. Calls what Mo Salah said, the words of Mo Salah, a disgrace. But would also spit at a kid. There we go. Draws effective. That's exactly the word they used, bro. That's exactly the word they used. They were like, oh, these draws are effective. I'm like, last year we're winning the Premier League. This year we're seeing draws to relegation candidates and newly promoted teams as effective. What the hell are we doing? Absolute shambles. Absolute shambles. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for being here this morning. Really, really appreciate it. As always, hit the like button if you haven't already, and obviously subscribe if you're all new. Would love to obviously see you again. Absolutely pleasure and absolute so much fun to talk football with you all. Standards are in the gutter at this club. It's so embarrassing. Tell me about it, bruv. Tell me about it. If we're seeing draws to Sunderland and Leeds as effective, then we are so deep in the gutter. Oh, it's absolutely incredible how far we've fallen this year. As always, hit the like button on the way out. Enjoy the video. Subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for being here on this Tuesday morning. I hope your day goes fine and dandy. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks live stream. Fingers crossed for Liverpool tonight, but I don't really have much hope. I hope I'm back here tomorrow going, well, at least the positive is we beat Inter. But I personally don't necessarily see it. I look forward to your reaction, says Dean. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, talking about Liverpool's game with Inter tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be pleasant again. I don't know. I do kind of know, but there's always that little bit of doubt that maybe, just maybe, Liverpool might shock the world. It's mad. It's bizarre, man. It's bizarre. How on God's earth am I going into a game against Inter? And I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like last year, we were just, it's so mad. It's mad to even think anybody out there has got any hope of beating Inter after we just drew to Leeds United after bottling a 2-0 lead. This is one of the most free-flowing goal-scoring teams in Europe right now. And we're looking at it like, oh, Inter. Yeah, great. It's bizarre, man. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Talking Liverpool, talking our reaction to the Inter game. And maybe if there's more fallout to this Salah'S saga, then obviously we'll throw that into the mix as well. Thank you all for being here. Like and subscribe. All of that good stuff. Really appreciate your love and support, guys. You guys are absolutely awesome. Love you all to bits. I'll see you all tomorrow. Until then, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.